So today I figured I would do something a little different. I always wanted to do a tier list. So I'll start with one of my favorite Transformers, which is Nemesis Prime. I kind of threw in a few others in here too, like Scourge, since he's kind of like the pre-Nemesis Prime. Threw in Rodimus Udacronus, Nemesis Primal, and a few other fun ones. And there's so many of them that I figured I would just do the ones that I own, compared to some of the ones that are just a lot. Now, starting out, we have the Alternators Nemesis Prime. This one's just a like most of them, black repaint of Optimus Prime. I'm not sure the pickup truck, the Dodge, kind of works real well for even Optimus, much less Nemesis, but it's not a bad figure. The Dodge truck definitely looks better than the robot mode. The robot mode's a little chunky and kibbly. I think this one I would drop into. I don't put that one in the D tier. It's really I just like the Dodge Ram. I used to have one of those. Now, Armada Nemesis Prime. This one holds a special place in my heart because that's the first time I've ever seen a Nemesis Prime. I'm pretty sure it's the first time Nemesis Prime's ever popped up. Before this, it's always been Scourge. Or in Japan, Black Convoy. But when I first saw this figure on the shelf, I wanted it as a kid and wasn't able to get him until much later. But then I saw him in the show, and I just thought that was just the best thing ever, and I loved it. And I'm a little biased, so it's going to S tier. Nemesis Primal. This one's a bit of a newer one. I thought it was a cool concept to do a Nemesis version of Optimus Primal, and I love the purple and the teal and the red. I like they gave him a full mouth plate. This one's hitting home pretty good. Really like that concept. I'm probably going to dump this one in S tier also. That might drop down to A later. We'll see. Blocky's Nemesis Prime, I thought would be kind of a fun one. I just recently got this one. It's a pretty fun little build. I think it looks pretty good. It's kind of a smaller little, almost chibi style Nemesis Prime. It's not bad. For what it is, it's not bad. We'll B tier it. We'll C tier it. And it doesn't actually transform. Bot Shots Nemesis Prime. I miss Bot Shots. I wish that never went away. I thought it was such a fun little concept. But it did go away. As fun as it is, we'll C tier it. Now, the Bumblebee movie Masterpiece Nemesis Prime is a really good figure. Never really appeared in the movie or any of the material outside the movie that I can think of. But it's a good figure because the original Masterpiece was good. It's a pretty good Nemesis Prime. I'm going to A tier it. I don't think it's quite S tier, since it is just kind of a cheap, easy throw-in repaint. No story behind it. The Combiner Wars Grand Scourge. This was a Takara Tomy Mall exclusive, I think. This one was not an easy one for me to get, but I got him because I loved Combiner Wars, even if that mold wasn't the greatest mold based off the Motor Master mold. But the comic that came with it that made him Grand Scourge, I thought was really cool, interesting. Made Scourge, have a little bit more story than he's gotten in a while. Because the mold's so bad, it's just more of a novelty. I'm throwing it in B tier. Here's another little non-Nemesis Prime one, but it's a Nemesis figure, the Nemesis Breaker. I love the paint on this. The way they designed the little Decepticon logo on his arm. The way he combines with Cybertron Megatron, or even better, when he combines with the Cybertron Galvatron, all the paint lines up. It's perfect. I love it. A tier. Yeah, I like that. Actually, I think Bot Shot's probably better than the Blokis, but that's just me. At least it actually transforms. Energon Grand Scourge. This is one I bought this without knowing much about it. I thought it was going to, for the price, I thought it was going to be an actual repaint of Energon Optimus Prime, not a little mini model kit. It looks cool. Again, it gives a little bit more story to Scourge. Not much, but yeah, it was disappointing. And as a model kit, it doesn't hold together really well, and I had to glue some of it because it just doesn't hold together. So D tier. I don't like that thing, and I spent way too much money on it. Transformers Go Nemesis Prime. This one I love. I love the paint job. The wings make him look, I don't know, just looks more sinister than it works for Optimus, in my opinion, especially with the sword. Um, in actuality, it's just a repaint of Beast Hunter's leader class. I think it's a leader class. Yeah, leader class Optimus Prime. But it works so much better. It just kind of sucks it was only in the Go line. Because that was only released in Japan, so getting it over here was not great, but I am A-tiering it because I love the way that looked. Legacy Evolution Nemesis Leo Prime. This felt like another real cheap kind of cash grab, just a repaint Leo Prime, but the repaint of it looks so much better than the actual Leo Prime. I don't even know there's any story behind Nemesis Leo Prime, but it looks good. Don't look bad. I'm going to B-tier it, probably in front of Grand Scourge. Legacy Evolution Nemesis Prime. Again, the paint looks good. It's a good Transformers Optimus Prime, but it feels like another little cheap cash grab. I mean, it's not bad for a core class. I'm going to B tier it again, putting it in front of Grand Scourge. Grand Scourge is probably going to end up at the very bottom of B tier, maybe even work its way into C. Masterpiece Nemesis Prime. This one I love. It just won MP10 Primes. Still my favorite Masterpiece Prime. But painting it black into my favorite character from, or one of my favorite characters from Transformers, it worked perfectly. I am A-tiering it. Or, sorry, I'm going to S-tier it. Probably still behind Armada Nemesis Prime. This one was fun. The Melts Vinyl Nemesis Prime. I didn't even know this was a thing. I just picked up one of those when the promotions for the Transformers One Stop popped up all over Walmart, and that just happened to be the first one I picked up and got it, and I loved it. It's adorable. As a toy, it's probably on border with C tier. Other one, kind of gimmicky Transformers like the Blokies and Bot Shots, but it was kind of a cute novelty. Movie the best, The Last Night Nemesis Prime. I hate that that's what they ended up doing with Nemesis Prime in the Michael Bay movies. It's just making him a literal evil Optimus Prime instead of a completely separate character that he should have been. And you could barely tell the difference in the movie, other than he's a little darker. But when the toy came out, they definitely added some liberties to it. Gave him a more arsenal of weapons with the axe and the shield, and I loved it. As a toy, I think it's a good figure. And it looks like a good Nemesis Prime. I'm actually going to A-tier, probably more towards the bottom. And of course, Pop Vinyls had to do their easy repaint of Optimus Prime. It's going into C tier. I think it was a Funko Land exclusive. I can't remember. It was not super cheap, but it was a Nemesis Prime, so I had to have it. This might be... Now, I know I said Armada Nemesis Prime is probably my favorite Nemesis Prime. I'm biased as that's the first one I've ever seen that actually held the name Nemesis Prime, and I loved that it was an Armada, which is one of my favorite series. It comes with a mini-con, and Bendy Prime is just, to this day, still just great. But this is probably my favorite Nemesis Prime they've ever made. It's the Power of the Primes Nemesis Primes. You can get the little Nemesis Orion packs. You get the Dark Matrix. You get a little mini-con that he comes with. I think his name is Giza. And then they actually made him a little different. He's not a total just black repaint Optimus Prime. They re-sculpted a head for him. So he actually has a completely separate head, therefore making him even seem more like his own separate characters. Unfortunately, it was an Amazon exclusive. It didn't come with a trading card, which bothered my OCD. Like all the other Power of the Primes came with trading cards at the time. So he was a little harder to get. But yeah, S tier, top of S tier. Holy Grail. Love that one. Same with the Power of the Primes, Rodimus Unicronus. Again, I realize it doesn't even have Nemesis in the name, but it's kind of a black repaint. It's good. They give him the Transformers 86 bad guy goatee and mustache. Comes with, I guess, he comes with a Nemesis hot rod if you want to throw Nemesis in there for a name. It's pretty good. I like it. I'm gonna put it in S tier. It's gonna go above Nemesis Primal. Works good. Gives the Shattered Glass repaint a good name. The Prime Arms Micron Nemesis Prime. This was another one I wasn't a big fan of. It was just a robot created by the humans in that one. I can't remember their group. that they called themselves. Um, and you could barely tell it was an Nemesis Prime. It just looked like a rusted Optimus Prime in the show. But when the toy came out, they made it black, gave him the classic teal and red coloring on him, and it was a good toy. Came with his minicon. I do not remember that minicon's name. But it was a good toy. That's a really good one. It's going A tier. Probably going to put it. I don't know if it's better than Movie the Best, but I think I'm going to put it above. Yeah, that feels right. Movie the Best, right in front of it. Now, RID 2015, I was not a huge fan of. I didn't watch a lot of it. In fact, I don't even remember Nemesis Prime in it for what little bit I did watch. But the toy was pretty good. All their toys were pretty good. This little super mode that they did with the wings and the cannons on his shoulders, it was a fun toy. I liked it. I think it deserves B tier. I'm going to put it in front of Legacy Evolution. And here's the original version of it, the RID 2015 Nemesis Prime. It's going to go right behind the super mode version. The super mode version is pretty much the exact same thing with a little bit of extra, so they're kind of one and the same. So RID Scourge. Scourge was the Nemesis Prime before Nemesis Prime. It was the black repaint of Optimus Prime. The first time I've ever seen it. I think the first time it appeared, at least in America. I don't know if there was anything for Black Convoy before that. I never really kept track of Black Convoy. But when RID came out with Scourge, KB Toys did a repaint of a G2 Optimus Prime that they painted black and called Scourge. It was a fun little older toy. The original Optimus Prime was. It's pretty good. I'm going to put this in B tier. I mean, it is kind of based on an older toy, so you can't hate on it that much. The thing doesn't have any heels and cannot stand without being propped up, so it's going to go in front of Grand Scourge. And then the original Scourge. This thing I had to have as a kid, and I just couldn't find it anywhere. I didn't get it until I was much older. But the whole gas tanker that turns into a base, transforms to a black Optimus Prime, a giant red sword. I realize, again, it's just a repaint of an old Generation 2 laser Optimus Prime. But I didn't have that as a kid. I never even saw that as a kid. Never popped up in the shows that I watched. So I knew nothing about it until Scourge came out. Scourge was my first introduction to that mold, and I loved it. It's going S tier. Probably right behind the Masterpiece version. I love that toy. And then they did a little Spy Changers version of it. It's hard to hate on. It's a good Spy Changer. It's going bottom of A tier. And then the Speedy F500 Scourge that came out recently at the Walmart exclusive line. And it doesn't look like Scourge, other than the upside down logos on the shoulders. It looks like Nemesis Prime. Some say Black Convoy, but I mean, Black Convoy just looks like Nemesis Prime to me. But too much teal, not enough gray. It's basically Nemesis Prime, not so much Scourge. But I love that gas tanker truck. That's the thing that makes it look more like Scourge. Nemesis Prime wasn't a gas tanker. He was just a 18-wheeler, just like Prime. So I guess they got that going for it. It's pretty good. Like it. Good mold. I'm S tiering it. Probably right behind the original. It's hard to hate on the original, but that new one is pretty. I'm going to put it in front of it. So the Takara Tomy Nemesis Prime for the 40th anniversary. This just came out. It's super hard to find. I had to import it here for a hefty price, along with the Burning Convoy or Burning Primal. That was not easy to get or find. But it's pretty good. I mean, the Bumblebee Studio Series 102 Prime is a good mold, and this is a really decent repaint of it. It's pretty, again, it's kind of like the Bumblebee Masterpiece version. It's just a cheap cash grab to, paint them in the Nemesis Prime colors, but it's hard to hate on them. That's kind of what Nemesis Prime is, and it's good. It's A tier. Now, the Transformers Collectors Club RID Scourge was pretty cool. This is the first time we got to see Scourge in a long time, and that was a good mold, and I love the upside down Autobot logo, G2 Autobot logo on the side of the truck, and it hit home and hit all the right places pretty good for its time. So I'm going to got a lot in S tier. We might move Nemesis Primal down to A tier. I'll put this Scourge in the head of B tier because it doesn't come with a trailer, and that loses points for me. Thrilling 30s Nemesis Prime. Again, it just felt like another cheap cash grab of paying Optimus. The Optimus mold black. They gave him a little mini bot. I think that was Spinister. It was okay. It's definitely a cash grab. And it's gonna go in B tier, but in front of the Grand Scourge. This was a good Nemesis Prime. This one I got all of. I got the Optimus Prime version. I had got the white Ultra Magnus version, the Nemesis Prime version. The truck mode looks good. The robot mode looks good. The little bit of kibble in the arms kind of holds it back. But it is still pretty good. But it doesn't come with a trailer. It's hard to hate on it because of that, but we'll put it ahead of B tier there. Ah, man, that Grand Scourge just really isn't great. We're dropping him down to C. That mold's not super good, but I had to have it. Now, Universe 2.0 Nemesis Prime. This is now Nemesis Prime moving into the B stores, and I love the fact that he is the repaint of Big Convoy or Big Prime. And they just went all out with the paint job. They gave him the Dark Matrix. They paint the blood on the tusks. Eyes are blood red. I mean, they just went all out. This is damn near S tier. It is S tier. It's going to go at the bottom of S tier because it's a kibbly, chunky, panely mess, but it's hard to hate on how it looks. It looks amazing. And then last, we got the War for Cybertron Nemesis Prime. Now, this one we got two of. I think Takara told me did their repaint of it that I've got somewhere over here, but it didn't come with a trailer. It was more of a nice glossy black. I didn't add that in here because this is the same mold as that, but this is the surprise box, I think it was called, version. And this one came with a trailer and it came with more of a matte black. And it gave you some of the power of the Prime weaponry, including Giza. And this was pretty good, but I really wish, since this was during the Earthrise series, they used the Earthrise mold and not the Siege Optimus Prime mold. That would have worked a lot better, since Takara told me just did the Siege mold for Nemesis Prime, and we could have had an Earthrise mold with the Earthrise trailer. That bothered me so much that they did this, even though I love this Nemesis Prime. The way they went about it was bad. It's going to be tier. Not the fact that it's a bad mold, but it's just they cheaped out on it. They should have given us the Earthrise version because we just got the Siege version. So that way we could have matched the black trailer with the Earthrise trailer, and that would have worked out so much better, instead of just rehashing the Siege one that we just got from Takara Tomy again. But I think this, I think this checks. Yeah, some people might hate on the fact that I put the Masterpiece Bumblebee Nemesis Prime down here, but it really did just feel like a cheap cash grab. There's no story behind it. He wasn't in the movie. I mean, but it is a good figure. But I like to combine, with the paint job with a little bit of story behind it, and that's kind of how I base it. I think this works. I like to do more of these. I think these are pretty fun. Maybe the next time we'll do my favorite Transformer of all time, Ultra Magnus, because Nemesis is my probably my second favorite. So I know I'm going to probably do another video, have that up by the end of this weekend. Probably going to be doing it on this guy here, Armada Thundercracker, or Super Link Starscream. Got that planned up for before Monday hits. But thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe and let me know what you think about their tier list and how you might change it. All right.